Okay, for our colored pencil techniques, the first thing we're going to do is chromatic value scale. It says practice increasing pressure and layers to build a color from light to dark. Then adding increasing amounts of black to build the color even darker. So I can see that this is light, and then it's going to go all the way to dark, and then from here to here I'm going to gradually be incorporating black into this. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is choose my color that I want to use. For light, I'm going to do this as lightly as possible, and I'm going to fill in my square. And then I'm increasing my pressure, which means I'm going to push down a little bit harder. When I color, I try to use kind of like circular motions. So they're kind of like really elongated ovals. Increasing my pressure even more. Increasing even more. And you should be able to tell that this is kind of getting darker. One way I can tell if I'm doing a good job with going darker is by squinting my eyes. That's going to kind of show me my value. So not closing my eyes all the way, but squinting my eyes will kind of help me see the different like lightnesses and darknesses. Okay, then we're going from dark to black. So I'm going to apply more pressure. Okay, and then I need my black colored pencil to do that second part. Okay, so I have my black colored pencil. It's a Crayola, and that's fine. And I'm going to be using a light amount of pressure over my pink. I'm going to apply even more pressure. More pressure. And then the last square, I'm going to do the most pressure. And then what I like to do is always kind of go back with the pink. We want to use circular motions when we're doing this because that's going to really mix those two colors together. It's mixing the pigments, which is the actual physical color. Okay, so I can go back in with pink and circular motions, blend those together. And at this point, I'm pressing pretty hard with the colored pencil. Okay, so that looks good. If I squint my eyes, I can see that it goes from light to dark, and it's pretty evenly spaced in between the different value colors. Okay, our next thing that we're going to be doing is blending analogous colors. Choose a color on the color wheel plus the colors on either side of it. Place your color in the middle spot and the colors beside it to the left and to the right. Blend to create new intermediate colors. Example would be our hue is going to be orange. The analogous colors are yellow and red, or orange in the middle and yellow and red on the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm going to have my analogous color be yellow. So I'm going to lay down yellow in the center, and then I'm going to blend it out to both sides. So I put a lot of pressure on the very center of it, and then I'm going to blend that out. And now I'm going to choose two analogous colors. So if I'm looking at my color wheel, I have yellow. My analogous colors would be green and orange. So whatever is going to be on both sides of it. So I have yellow here. On this side, I'm going to do orange. I'm going to go lightly overlapping the yellow, using kind of like long ovals to blend those colors together. And then as I get to the side, I'm going to apply even more pressure. Okay, so there is one side, and then my other side I'm going to have green. So once again, I'm going to overlap very lightly. And then if I squint my eyes, then all the colors should kind of blend out. And I'm going to double check that this is kind of darker on the edge, and then blend that out. Okay, and then right here I'm going to do the same thing. So my hue is going to be purple. I'm going to press down as hard as I can. And then use circular motions to blend that out. And I'm lightening up my pressure as I go outward. And then same over here. As I go toward the edges, I'm going to lighten up my pressure. So on this side, I'm going to do red. The most pressure on the outside, blending in towards the center. And then over here, I'm going to do a blue. Okay, and I can see that this is not blended out. So what I'm going to try to do is even that out some more. So I'm going to go back and kind of fix it up. Going over that blue again. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, this next portion is layering colors. The order of the colors can make a difference in your final product. Try blending sets of analogous colors in different orders. So for example, if you're layering the analogous colors blue and green, put blue in the left box first and then green in the right box first. Then green on top of the blue and blue on top of the green. Try layering similar shades of a color to see variations. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to do a green and a turquoise color. So the first thing I'm going to do is, using an even amount of pressure, I'm going to do kind of like long circular motions of green. And then I'm going to do this turquoise color over here. Okay, so I have green first and then the turquoise. Now I'm going to add turquoise on top of the green. Using circular motions and an even amount of pressure. And then I'm going to add green on top of my turquoise. And you can see with both sides I'm using the same colors, but they look different depending on how we order them. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. I'm going to use a pink. And we're going to do this 3 times with different colors. So I'm going to do a pink, which is kind of in the red family. And then next to pink, I'm going to do orange, because red and orange are next to each other, and pink is a lighter version of red. So I'm going to do pink and orange. Now I'm going to do orange on top of the pink. And then pink on top of the orange. So you can see that this one looks a little bit darker than this one. Okay, and then my last ones, I'm going to do, let's do red and purple. So I'm going to do red first. And this color is called violet. Okay, then I'm going to put violet on top of the red. and see what that looks like. And then I'm going to do red on top of the violet. Okay, and those are finished. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is the building smooth pigment portion. It says experiment with materials and techniques to build pigment and create a range of values. Attempt to keep the middle of the rectangle lighter and the edges a little darker. So what we're going to be doing here is finding a color. I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to go around the outside of my rectangle, pressing hard with the most pressure. Now you can go from the outside in or the inside out. It doesn't matter as long as you are blending it. Whatever's easier for you. Okay, so I've gone around the outside. Now I'm going to do my circular motions and blend towards the center. And I'm bringing that like hard pressure into a very light pressure. Okay, and then I'm going to go lightly, as light as I can, into the center. And check my work by squinting my eyes. Okay, so with this one, it's blending in white. So what I'm going to do, and once again, you can start from the inside out or the outside in, but circular motions, I'm going to be using my white colored pencil to blend those two pigments together. So my pinkish red color and my white, those are my two pigments that I'm blending. So circular motions, so my colors really blend together and those pigments mix. And once again, pigment is like the actual physical color that we're mixing. Okay, and that's blending in white. Now the colorless blender, we're going to do something very similar. So I'm going to choose a different color. I'm going to do this turquoise. I'm going to go with more pressure around the outside. And then I'm going to blend that color in. Going from a hard pressure to a soft pressure. Take your time with this. I'm kind of rushing this, but take your time. Check your work. Make sure everything's blended. Okay, so with my colorless blender, that is a special colored pencil that looks like this. So it has kind of like a whitish lead, and the barrel of it looks like wood, and then it also says colorless PC1077. So that's how we know we're using a colorless blender. We're going to do the same thing as what we did with the white. And with the colorless blender, instead of lightening up the color, it just blends it. So it still stays true to that color. It's not going to lighten it or anything. but it's going to smooth out the pigment so you're not seeing the tooth of the paper anymore. And the tooth is like the little white specks that you see whenever you're coloring. So I'm still using circular motions to blend these two together. Next, we're going to be doing burnishing. So I'm going to use one color. So I'm going to take orange. Press harder on the outside. And with burnishing, it says press hard with multiple similar colors or the colorless blender or white to leave no paper tooth showing. So when we burnish, we are pressing with our pencil with the most pressure. I'm still going to try to lighten it up as we get to the center part. Okay, and then with this one, I think I'm going to take pink, and with this, circular motions, and I'm going to go all the way around and press as hard as I can and blend those two colors together. But I shouldn't see any little white specks from the paper. And that's burnishing. Okay, our last box right here is erasing to lighten. So what I'm going to do is go around the outside of my rectangle, putting the most pressure. I'm going to blend it to the center. Making circular motions and checking my work by squinting. So when that's finished, what I'm going to do is take my pencil and I'm going to use my eraser in circular motions around, and what that's going to do is erase and blend the pigments. Okay, and then I can always go back and kind of smooth these out. Okay, just like that.